Hey, thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Welcome to my channel. Today I got a 2000 Ford F250 Super Duty 4-wheel drive pickup, and I'm going to show you how to replace the hub bearings and do front brakes. Now this has a manual hub, so you got to turn it for free or lock it in. So I'm going to show you how to do that, show you the tools that you need. It's not a hard job. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. So we're going to be replacing the hub bearings. This side has a little bit of play. The other side was blown out. First step we're going to do is we're going to take the caliper off. So you're going to have a 17mm bolt right here. All right, so take that the two 17s out and pull the caliper off. Then you're going to take the bracket off. So it'll be a 21mm. You can, a lot of times you're going to have to use a really long ratchet to break it loose. I've got the CAPRI flex head impact, and I did the whole other side with this ratchet right here. It took off the caliper bolt, the caliper bracket, and the hub bearing bolts, all with this ratchet here. So it's the flex head with a wobble socket. All right, so the first step, we're gonna, after we take the caliper off, we're gonna take that off, get the pads out of there, and then you can just set this part of the caliper. It'll set right up here. The next step is we're gonna be taking this this four-wheel drive locker here. We're gonna be taking this off. You're just gonna have these Allens here, and those Allens are, let's see. Those Allens are going to be 9/64. It's got the Carbine Tools hex head socket here. Worked great for the other side, so we're going to take that off. When you pull this out, there's going to be a spring. I'll show you that. Let me get this off. All right, so when you pull it off like this, it's going to be pushing out because there's a spring in here. All right, just make sure your seal stays with your locker here. Just going to set that upside down. Gonna take this spring off. Next thing you got to do is there's a snap ring in here, and right here you can see that little right there. So what you got to do is you got to pick up on it, and it spirals in. It's about 2 or 3 layers thick. Let me get it out, and let me see if I can do it with one hand. Almost had it. There we go. Okay. So I just used a little, just a little 90-degree little hook pick. Then from here, it's going to be all greasy, so just grab it, and it's going to just swirl on out. And there it is. You can see it's multi-layered, and when you put it back in, you're going to just roll it in. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this guy out here. It's going to be a little tricky one-handed, so a lot of times if you just put a pocket screwdriver, you can put one on each side. Or you could put the 2 of the bolts in and then just pull it out. So anyways, we got it. Sorry, I'm not used to filming while I'm doing actual work. So we're just going to pull that out. Okay, so it's going to come out like that. All right, I'm going to set that there. Next thing, you're going to have a snap ring. Take the snap ring off, and then you're going to have like a washer, and then it's going to look like a nut, and then another washer. Pull all that out, and all right, let me get that out, show you what it looks like. All right, it's a pretty strong snap ring, so you're gonna need some good snap ring pliers. I have these, they're ratcheting. I popped it off just to show you. but these are internal and external. Got these from Dynamic Tools. I think it's Gray Tools. All right. So the next thing you're gonna do is now we're just gonna come in here. We're just gonna pull this off. There's gonna be a washer. There's gonna be this guy, which is like a shim. And then there's gonna be one more washer. All right, so I'm gonna pull that out. The next thing we're gonna do is on the back of this hub bearing is gonna be 4 studs and 4 nuts. So the nuts are 21 millimeter. So you can get it out with, I used a setup like this, a wobble. My regular 21 wobble was too short. That's my Sunex 21 wobble. So I put 21 with a universal wobble, and it was a perfect size. And I was able to get in there and break the nuts loose and get them off. And then you're just gonna tap on your hub bearing and it'll pull out. All right, let me get these nuts off, show you what it looks like. All right, so I also forgot to tell you that the rotor is a slip-off rotor. So once you've taken the brakes off, the rotor comes off. So now I've got the nuts off. And now we're just gonna hit this. And you'll see it's moving. I'm gonna kind of hit it on both sides. Then from there, it's gonna wiggle out. Sometimes on some vehicles, you have to put a screwdriver in between right here and the hub bearing, and kind of give it like a little pry on both sides to wedge it out. This one's coming out pretty good, so. All right, so then once you get that off, you're gonna get everything cleaned up. Hang on, let me pop this off and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what the back looks like. So you got your backing plate here. Just clean off any residual dirt or dust or whatever, greasy, whatever. And then just make sure you wipe all this out real good. And make sure you clean this surface right here, because there's an O-ring right there. Actually, you can see it on this one. There's an O-ring right there that seals for the 4-wheel drive hub, because this is a vacuum actuated hub. So you're just gonna clean all this out real good. And then what you're gonna do, you're gonna put Loctite. You're gonna put Loctite on your threads on one side. You're gonna thread it in. And all I did was use the 2 21 millimeter nuts, and I just threaded one all the way down, and I threaded one on top. And I used the top one, tightened it down, broke the nuts loose, took them off, and then put your backing plate on your new hub, and then put a little dab of Loctite on each of the studs here. Do it now, because when it's in the car, you have you can't get to it. So, all right, let me get this all set up. All right, so when you use Loctite, you only need a little bit. You can see I just ran a small little line up the threads, because it's gonna thread in and it's gonna thread around. So, don't normally do this one-handed, but basically to give you an idea of what I was talking about, we're gonna thread this all the way in. There's stud installers and stuff like that, but it takes longer to get that stuff out than it does to just do it this way. With your nuts, they're already here, they're already for this, they're super strong. And so you're just gonna thread the bottom one down until it bottoms out. You're gonna tighten this one down, and then just use this nut right here and tighten it down. You're just gonna tighten it down until it's tight, and you don't need to impact it or anything. You just need to turn it with a wrench, and then you're gonna counter hold this bottom nut and then break this top nut loose. That's how you use nuts to install studs, or remove them too. But anyways, so that's what you do there. So we're gonna get all these studs installed, get a little dab of Loctite here. We're gonna put the backing plate on, or the dust shield, backing plate, whatever, and then we're gonna slip the hub in. Oh, make sure you lube your O-ring here. Lube your O-ring, and then we're gonna put it back in, and we're gonna tighten it down. All right, let's go. Okay, so instead of lubing your O-ring, you could actually just lube the whole inside of here, or your O-ring, either one, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we've got the studs all installed. I've got Loctite. I just got it on my finger. Now I'm just gonna flip this up. I'm gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna give it a nice couple hits with the dead below till it bottoms out. I'm gonna put the nuts on, I'm gonna tighten them down. And then we're gonna put the brakes back together. We're gonna do the same, we're gonna put all this back together the same way that we took it apart. Make sure you put these, make sure there's a metal washer, a shim and a washer. Got your snap ring. Sometimes you have to push the axle this way to get your snap ring to go in all the way. Then we're gonna slide this mechanism on here. We're gonna roll this snap ring in, put that spring in, and then we're gonna put our outer locker on and put the bolts in and just snug them up. They don't need to be super tight, don't break them, they're a little bitty. All right. Oh, one more tip that I have is anytime I do brakes on anything, I always put Loctite on the caliper bolts. I've seen times where they've come out. I just put Loctite just to make sure that they don't come out. And then that's it. Make sure that you lube up everything. I like to lube up the inside of the pistons and the outside of the caliper bracket, and then I like to lube up inside the bracket where the pads slide. All right, let's get this back together. All right, just in case so you don't do what I just did, don't sit here and pay attention to the camera so much that you put the backing plate on upside down. So I had this on backwards, so it goes like this, and that way it slides up. And this spot right here is for your ABS sensor. If you have ABS, this one does not. That's where that would come out the top. All right, let's go. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you've never done this before, I hope this helped you feel comfortable doing it, getting the job done, getting it done right. That way you don't have to go and take it back apart, mess with it, worry about anything messing up. So, thanks for watching the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. You get notified of all my future content, which you're definitely going to want to see. Also, check me out on Instagram at Nuts and Bolts with Tone for my daily life as a mechanic. You also get a sneak peek at some of the tools that I use on a regular basis, and some of the new tools. Before I get a chance to make a video, I show them in use to let you know I'm using them, and then when I make the video, obviously I've tried them out and I recommend them. So, thanks for watching. Also check out my merchandise store where you can get yourself a t-shirt or a coffee cup. And thanks for supporting Nuts and Bolts with Tone. I'll see you next time.